Hey everybody, Joe Rignola here, back with another Q&A Friday video. This question comes from Facebook. It sent to me as a private message. She asked for me not to use her real name. So here you go, Susan McAllister. Here's your answer for your question. No, I'm kidding. That's not her name. That would be horrible. God, I would never do that. She basically asks, and I'm going to paraphrase here because obviously I'm driving, so I'm not going to read. That would be bad. She says that she's been paleo for about 2 years and lost about 78 pounds. Generally a pretty low carb paleo. She exercises 3 days a week, most weeks, although she didn't tell me what type of exercise that she's doing. And she feels like the past 5 or 6 months she's hit a plateau. So she lost about 78 pounds, and she actually gained back 12 pounds over the last 5 or 6 months, and has sort of hovered there. And she said she feels a little bit defeated because she's unable to lose the remainder of the weight, and actually she gained some weight back. So let me tackle one of the first things that you said here. I don't want you to feel defeated in any way, because what you've been able to accomplish is phenomenal. So, you know, I usually like people to really chunk things down and look at things, just your next meal, this day, this moment, and don't think too broad a picture. In other words, I want you to be focused on in the present moment, so you can take appropriate action, eat the right foods, and all that's going to help you move closer to your goal. But sometimes we do need to take a step back, zoom out a little bit, and look at this timeline, and realize where we've been and where we're going. So, in other words, for you say you've struggled with your weight pretty much your entire life, and then in the past 2 years or so, you've done something amazing. You've lost 78 pounds, almost 80 pounds, and you've really been able to maintain that over a fairly extended period of time. And it's only been in the past 5 or 6 months that you've gained a little bit of weight back. It's a fraction of what you lost. And again, you're still really trending downward. You have to think a little bit more long term for a second here. You have to also put this in perspective that most people who go on a quote-unquote diet fail. And you haven't failed. I think the paleo template allows people to I think sort of embedded into that template is the thought that this is a lifetime, that this is a lifestyle, and it's long term, and it's not a short term diet. I think you're on the right wavelength, but what I need you to do is not beat up on yourself because you gained a couple of pounds back compared to what you lost. You're still incredibly successful over a long period of time. You're still trending downward, and that's absolutely something you need to stop beating yourself up a little bit about that, and just be super grateful that your health has improved, and you've been able to lose and maintain some really significant weight loss. So now let me give you some ideas, and again, I don't have a tremendous amount of detail about your story, but I'll give you some ideas that I have that what might be going on here. So, for one, based on what you told me, you're eating fairly low carb paleo, and you're exercising 3 days a week. I'm not sure what kind of exercise you're doing, but what I see with a lot of people is low carb works really well for a period of time, and then what happens, people go too low carb for too long, and their thyroid really starts to slow down. And that's something that definitely could be happening with you. I'm not saying it definitely is, but that's super common. And the remedy for it really is to start ramping up your carbohydrate intake, particularly if you're exercising fairly rigorously 3 days a week. I would say you may have slowed down your metabolism or impaired your thyroid function pretty significantly over a period of time here. So I would start ramping up your carb intake, particularly after a workout. And I would probably ramp that up fairly high at this point in an effort to reestablish some thyroid function and improve your metabolism. Your thyroid, and I talked about this in my last video, your thyroid requires, amongst many other things, it actually requires some sugar, some glucose, and insulin in order to function properly. And so by restricting carbohydrate too much for too long a period of time, you're absolutely going to slow down your thyroid. And so what I notice with a lot of people is that they add some carbohydrate back in, sometimes in fairly significant amounts, and they get off that plateau. They start losing weight again. You also need to wrap your head around the possibility that you'll gain a couple of pounds or so in that process of regaining your metabolism. But again, you've got to look at the big picture here. You're still trending downward in your weight, and you have to focus on your health. This is really about your health, more about your health than it is about your weight. And then what's going to happen once your metabolism is boosted again, that weight will start coming off again, and this time it'll be even more sustained than it was before, and you'll be healthier, absolutely healthier for it. So that's one possibility. Now there's a number of other possibilities there too. There's something called body fat set point, where your brain sees a little bit of weight gain as something good, and your body wants to protect that, because we have this, we're still wired for hunter-gatherer days when we didn't know where our next meal was coming from. So if we gained a little bit of weight, the body is like, that's awesome. We're going to try and hold on to that because we're not sure when the next meal is coming from. Of course, the body doesn't realize that there's a drive-through and supermarkets and Dairy Queens and all this, any food that we can want in any amount we want, anytime we want. It doesn't realize that we have all this access to food. So it may try and protect some body fat in that aspect. Another thing could be there's a huge emotional aspect to it, which is why the first thing I said was, don't beat up on yourself for having gained a few pounds back. If there's some emotional issue in the past that may have led to you having weight problems way earlier, that's maybe something that you have to go back and deal with also, because your body's going to, may protect that weight even more if there was some stressful event that occurred alongside of the weight gain. So that you may have to deal with some old shit. But like I said, I would definitely start with ramping up the carbohydrate, and then dealing with, if there's any stress, any anxiety, trying to deal with that. And of course, make sure you're getting good sleep. Try meditating. Try doing some yoga. Maybe if your exercise has been really strenuous, you may want to scale that back a little bit for a while, and just you may need to do a little bit more healing at this point than weight loss. And so concentrate on the big picture, the whole body. Concentrate on healing, concentrate on your health, and then the weight loss will happen when it's supposed to happen. So I hope that helps, and that's it for today. Thanks for watching.